Men who have to engage in that also have low self-esteem and have low self-worth. And they're insecure because they need that outside validation in order to feel good about themselves. And I've realized that a lot of the validation that they're looking for is actually from other men, because if they can show to other men that they're very desired by women and oh, I get with all these women, I can engage in hookup culture, whatever it is, they think it makes them look more manly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again with some more ridiculous TikTok cringe for you here today, featuring modern women who never seem to leave the application. So on today's episode, we're going to be kicking it off with a clip from this woman right here. Without further ado, guys, let's just jump right into it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
A red flag in men that I feel like I didn't care about a lot when I was younger, but do now, is promiscuity and being very sexually careless and risky, and the need to engage in very casual relations with people.
I find it funny, guys, how women come to these sorts of epiphanies only after they're about to, or if they have hit 30 years of age. You know, these things were never relevant to her before. She would hook up with a whole bunch of bad boys who also were out there hooking up with a bunch of women, and it would never matter. But now that we're trying to find our provider simp, now we start to consider these things. And just by the way, women like this still absolutely pursue the men who have been with a bunch of women. They don't actually stop doing this. They just go on a temporary hiatus while they're finding their simp. And oftentimes they don't even take a break then.
And I feel like when I was younger, obviously it's not ideal, but I didn't really care about it as much. And I think it's because of the way that we are kind of conditioned, right? So as a woman, if you engage in those types of relations, you are seen as being insecure. You have low self-esteem. You're doing it because you need validation. You're doing it because you have daddy issues, whatever it is. But if
I mean, hey, I thought it was strong and empowering to go out there and hook up with a whole bunch of dudes. You know what I'm saying? I thought this was fantastic. And just by the way, women will always try and claim that, oh, society conditioned me to hook up with a bunch of these dudes. You know, society conditioned me to chase the bad boys. No, it didn't. This is something you actively chose to do. You can't tell a modern woman what to do with her body, guys. I can't sit here and say, hey, don't hook up with bad boys. You think they'll ever listen to me? You think these women even listen to their fathers, if the fathers are even in the picture? No, a lot of these women don't listen. They go out there, they hook up with who they want, and then afterwards they try and blame it on society and try and say, oh, I ended up in all of these dudes' beds, but you know what? I was societally conditioned to do it. Get out of here.
But men who do that in society are seen as being ladies' men, and they can just get any woman they want. And it doesn't have as negative of a connotation. I think that's why women accept it more, right?
You know why it doesn't have as much of a negative connotation? Because it's hard to do for most men. Typically, as a dude, to get attention from a whole bunch of women, you actually have to do something other than exist, unless you're very highly attractive. Usually it signals that the man has something that women find valuable. On the other hand, you can be a woman who, you know, has a bunch of issues, and you'll still find, you can be a broke woman with no friends, bunch of mental health issues, and you'll still be able to hook up with a dude. You can be overweight, you cannot take care of your health, it doesn't matter. That's the difference. And also, by the way, it's actually the women who see these men as more valuable typically, because they're the ones out here chasing the dudes who have been with a whole bunch of women to begin with. Women set this standard, guys. They are the ones who chase ladies' men, right? That's why they call him they call these guys players and ladies' men, is because the women like these dudes, you know?
Negative of a connotation. I think that's why women accept it more, right? But as you get older and you kind of observe both men and women who are this way, men who have to engage in that also have low self-esteem and have low self-worth. like, and they're insecure because they need that outside validation in order to feel good about themselves. And I've realized that a lot of the validation that they're looking for is actually from other men, because if they can show to other men that they're very desired by women and like, oh, I get with all these women, I can engage in hookup culture, whatever it is, they think it makes them look more manly.
I don't think this is true. I think these guys who are going out there and hooking up with a bunch of women, they do it simply because they like the act, they like the intimacy, and they don't want to commit to modern women. You know, I'm sure some guys treat it as like a flex or something, but the majority of guys just do it because they don't want to have a serious relationship with modern day women, and they enjoy the act itself. They're like, hey, you know, if women are giving it up for free, then I'm going to go out there and do that. It's really not that deep about like, oh, trying to increase their masculinity. Dudes are just biological creatures. They will go out here and they will engage in this if women give them the opportunity.
But I don't think that that means that you're a confident person, and I don't think it means that you value yourself and like the energy that you give and receive in those types of relations. So I feel like now as I get older, I realize like, oh, that's such a red flag to me, because as you get older, you also see people who have engaged in that or continue to try to engage in it, and they don't seem very happy with themselves. And I think that it's a very depleting thing to go through after a long time.
You know what? I'll agree with this woman right here, guys. I don't think it makes a man confident or anything like that. And a lot of these guys, oftentimes, they would love to have that wife to quote unquote settle down with. But there aren't really a lot of wives here in the West, guys. I'll be totally honest. The reason why a lot of these dudes that women consider players used to be very nice men who would go out there and do everything by the book. You know, they would simp for women. They would follow what women tell them that they like. They would go out there and be that nice stereotypical man. And then they got them screwed over. Right? Maybe they lost their house in a divorce. Maybe they lost their kids or something. Hell, even a lot of these older guys are just becoming players, man. They're just playing the field because they don't want to go through the nonsense again. Right? Obviously, this doesn't make you a confident man. This doesn't make you some sort of, you know, better individual. But this is why men do this. They're just like, hell no, I don't want to go through the whole commitment thing again.
Be with themselves. And I think that it's a very depleting thing to go through after a long time, because again, I think it shows that you lack self-respect and self-worth, and you're kind of insecure because again, you need other people to validate you all the time.
So are we going to call women the same thing? Are we going to call women insecure for going out there and engaging in this behavior? You know what I'm saying? And also, I would probably argue that this woman has gone out here and done this exact same crap herself, right? Now that we're pushing 30, now that we're getting older, now we start to value modesty, right? Happy to go out there and hook up with a bunch of bad boys all throughout our 20s, but now we start to have moral epiphanies when we reach our 30s. Hilarious. Let's continue into the next clip here. Question for the girls. Let's take a listen.
Question for the girls, and I need genuine answer. Like, please be honest with me. Okay, so let's say you have two guys. This guy is like a 10 out of 10. Perfect. He's literally, mind you, 10 out of 10. However, he is your height. I don't care what height you are, he's your height. Yeah, so there's that. Then number two, there's this guy who's maybe like a 7.5 out of 10. The missing 2.5 is like either he's not your like physical type in terms of like his face, just his face, and maybe his body. He doesn't have a good fashion sense, or maybe he's lacking a little personality from that 2.5, or his manner. But he's tall.
I love how this woman, by the way, like, she considers it such a detriment if a man is her own height. Like, how ridiculous is this, by the way? Like, if women want to come out here and have their own height preferences, fine. Okay, but I do think it's a bit stupid when they require men who are actually taller than them. So you're X height, but you expect a man to be taller than you? All right, kind of strange. But again, guys, if I came out here and I said, hey, I want my woman to weigh less than me, then all of a sudden I'm a huge problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if women are going to have these sorts of standards, I think that men should be able to have them too. But of course, these women, They don't want to be dating a dude who's 5'6", you know, if she's 5'7", because that's such an insult to her. Completely insane. You know, women are allowed to have their standards, but I think men should be allowed to have them too. And I would argue if I went out here and I said that I wanted to date a woman who weighed less than me, holy hell, people would be pissed off about that. But nobody bats an eye when it comes to women and their hilarious height preferences.
Have a good fashion sense, or maybe he's lacking a little personality from that 2.5, or his manner. But he's tall. He's tall. He's like the ideal type of tall. Obviously, like, not too tall. Okay, out of those two guys, which one would you choose? Because for me, I think I would choose the tall guy. Of course, only if he's willing to work through that 2.5 missing point. If it's
Oh, stop the nonsense. She would still absolutely choose the tall guy. Oh, but he has to work on himself. Ma'am, you're not even close to a 7.5, all right? If we're going to go down this road, like, what in the hell is this? My man, I would choose the 7.5 out of 10 guy, but you know what? Because he's only 7.5 and I'm settling for him, he has to put in the extra work to achieve that 10. How disgusting is that, by the way? Like, these women are so damn entitled. They really think that they are just so valuable to dudes. Let's continue into the next one here. This looks cringe already. I haven't seen this. This woman looks like she's really trying to downplay her age here. Why on earth women this age have TikTok, I don't know. But hey, they have to get their attention somewhere, I suppose. Let's jump into the video.
On tonight's episode of Where the do you get off, bro? I went downstairs waiting for my friends to begin the evening's festivity in Las Vegas. I am fully aware, looking as I do, that it could cause a bit of a hoopla, a bit of a stir, maybe perhaps a ruckus even. And so I very stoically got off the elevator and stashed myself in a corner, quiet as a church mouse, wouldn't even put out a vibe, waiting for my friends. Okay? And so I won't even make eye contact with anybody. I'm on my phone. Leave me alone. It's giving don't touch me energy. Sure enough, out of my peripherals, Blob 1 and Blob 2 walk past, and I get the faintest whisper of, oh my God, bro, she's so hot. And I go, here we fucking go, dude. Sure enough, Blob 1 comes around the corner, stumbling, monkey paw, 2 beers, 1 eye, half cocked, looking like the human embodiment of my middle toe. Ooh.
Yeah, so whenever women make these stories, guys, about how, you know, these random men are just complimenting her and think that she's so attractive, I'm sorry, I don't believe it. Also, this woman looks quite, put it this way, guys, I have to put it very politely for YouTube, not my cup of tea, shall I say. Like, this woman, she thinks that she's dressed to the nines, that she's going to cause a ruckus because of the way she's dressed. She's just dressed so phenomenally. She looks so great. I think perhaps this woman should humble herself a little bit before throwing around such, you know, such things. But hey, what do I know?
And he's like, what's up? And so I just go, hey, like, don't back off. Everything about me is saying, don't talk to me. Did that deter him? Of course not. He's an idiot. What are you doing? Dinner. Going to dinner. And he goes, oh, it's noon. Okay, so you are that stupid. I go, sir, it's 6 p.m. And then he starts mumbling something that I couldn't give 2 fucks about, nor can I even hear. So I just go, okay, you can go now. Because it's just like, in what world, sir? In what world? You came incorrect. Your bad's horrible. Your breath, it stinks. Back up. And he was like, oh, okay. Okay, you know when they get all mad, they're like, oh, really? And you're like, yeah, dude, really, you're not entitled to everything. So sorry, your dad lied to you. He stumbles off to Blob number 2, and Blob number 2 is like, bro, she's so hot, she's so hot, she's so hot.
Yeah, again, this is where I just don't believe crap, guys. You know, again, when women make these stories and they talk about how highly men value them in the stories, like, oh yeah, all of these men found me so attractive. And you already know this woman's a complete pain in the ass. It's just like, what's that meme? Press X to doubt. Okay, I just doubt this stuff completely. right? Oh, these men thought that I was so fantastic and so awesome. And then I decided to come home and record a TikTok video about it because I look so great in my outfit. Holy hell, guys. No wonder these women are single. I'm sorry, but no wonder. I cannot tolerate these individuals. It's actually crazy. If I went to this woman's TikTok account, by the way, I guarantee you this wouldn't be the only instance of complete nonsense that we saw on her account. If I went there, there would be a whole bunch of videos that were just as insufferable as this one, where she thinks that she's the best thing ever.
Do you know what this man says? It's not even that shocking. He goes, oh, she's subpar at best. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. I just wish I could deck him. I wish violence were the answer in such a situation, but he's not worth messing up my jewelry.
Okay, so let me just stop you here, by the way, with the violent threats that women like to make against men. I'm sorry, but women think they are far more capable against men than they actually are. Like, I'm so sick of seeing these videos, guys, where like women are like, yeah, I wish I could get violent with this guy because I would show him a thing or two. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, no, you wouldn't. You think that you would beat a man in hand-to-hand combat? Like, the guy would shove you, madam, and you would fall over. Can we stop with this whole thing of like women are just equal to dudes in physical confrontations? Because what's going to happen is women who believe this crap, they're going to get themselves hurt, guys. And granted, I don't particularly care about this woman. I don't know what her name is. I don't even know who the hell this is. Okay, but these individuals, they're going to get themselves hurt at some point or another. If you think that you can square up to a man because you feel like you can, or because the dude's intoxicated, these women just don't understand the differences between men and women. They absolutely have no idea. Maybe one day reality will hit them, but they've been, brought up to believe that they're equal. They can do anything a man can. Well, let me tell you, when it comes to physical confrontations, you might want to can that particular belief before you actually injure yourself. Let's continue on to the next one here. This one is how to be unbothered when dating a man. We're going to get some man dating advice. This will be great. Let's take a listen. I can already see the comments, by the way, about this woman's nose ring. Anytime a woman gets on TikTok and she has a nose ring, guys, I just brace myself for the comments that you guys are going to leave. I already know. This is how you're going to stay unbothered when it comes to dating a man. All right, let's hear it.
How you're going to stay unbothered when it comes to dating a man. If he does anything that upsets you, you are going to stay unbothered because you are unbothered queen. You have better things going on in your life. And whatever he does or doesn't do, you're just like, okay, goodbye, see you later.
Why do women just, or at least the women on TikTok, excuse me, always just think that no matter what, they're a queen? You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk to their audience every single time and they just refer to them as the best thing ever. Don't worry, you're a queen, you deserve this, you deserve that. Can you guys imagine if I made videos, right? And I just spoke to you, the audience, and I just always asserted the idea that every single man watching my video is a king? No, there's probably some dudes who are absolutely not kings who are watching my video. These women just lie to their audience all of the damn time. You're the most special individual ever, guys. You deserve a 10 out of 10 model girlfriend. And like, are we just going to just lie to our audiences now? I always find this to be so crazy. Never settle, kings,
Okay, goodbye, see you later. These are key things that you need to remember. Number one, you are so detached from his actions. You're just a person that is observing his behavior and you're noting it, okay? Whatever he does, you're just noting it. You're not going to get upset. You're not going to cry and beg him to act right. You're simply going to observe his behavior and act accordingly.
Oh yeah, that's really going to show him, guys. Why don't you observe his behavior and act accordingly? This sounds like the biggest empty threat of all time. Okay, here's what happens, guys. The women will date an attractive man. The attractive man will, obviously not be interested in committing to her. And so women will get out their little notepads and they'll be like, yeah, he's displaying these red flags. I'm going to behave accordingly. And you know what? They still hook up with him anyway. By all means, madam, you observe his behavior, you take your notes, okay, and we'll see how well this plays out for your situationships that you are struggling with.
If he did not text you when he said he was going to text you, if he did not call you when he said he was going to call you, if he did not plan a date like he said he was going to plan a date, you have it noted in your head. You're like, oh, cool. Got it. Good to know you didn't keep your word, right? Literally in your mind, you're just doing a little like checklist. Like, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Good to know. Now I know who he is, right? From there, you can decide to keep dating this type of person or not. But you're...
Yeah, so now, after the man refuses to, you know, take us out on dates like the things we deserve because we're absolute queens, we can decide whether or not to keep giving our body to him. That's really the translation here, guys. And just, by the way, spoiler alert, women will continue to date these men who put in no effort whatsoever. Have you guys noticed this? Women will make videos, man, and they will talk about everything a man is required to do. You know, we have to plan everything. We have to get everything correct. We have to be really nice. You know, we have to jump through all of these like hoops and things like this. But if you actually look at the men that the women are chasing, especially for long periods of time, hooking up with, in these quote unquote situationships with, which is by the way, a disgusting word, the men who they actually chase, you think that these dudes care about giving them phone calls at particular times or being true to their word or planning things and always being on time and taking them out on dates? Like, no, obviously not. The men that these women chase don't put in any effort whatsoever. Maybe a tiny amount here and there when they can be bothered, just like throw the dog a bone kind of situation. But the men are not interested in anything serious with you.
You're not going to be sad if he doesn't do these things for you. You're going to realize that if he doesn't do these things, it does not affect your worth as a woman, okay? So if he does or doesn't do something, you're not going to internalize it. You're simply going to note it and act accordingly. Watch how he is with you. If he doesn't behave how you want him to behave, good riddance. 2, you are not going to compete with him or with any woman. You are so focused on yourself. You know you're an amazing woman. You know you got it like that. And any woman that comes across or anyone that he like potentially may be talking to, if you think that he's talking to other women, you're not concerned about that.
Yeah, see, this is exactly why, by the way, this is a big reason why so many women can't get a man, is because they think that they're just perfect the way they are. You know, I'm not in competition with any other women. I'm the woman. I'm the queen. Okay? It's like, no, you're not. I can clearly tell from this video that this woman doesn't even take care of her basic health. You know what I'm saying? Like, this woman doesn't even... I can't say the comments because YouTube would just insta-ban me. But I'm just going to put it this way. This woman doesn't even take care of her health. And yet she's sitting here talking about how she's the perfect woman and, you know, women don't compete with other women. You absolutely do, by the way. If you are trying to get a man, right, and typically the men that these women are chasing, typically the men that they're chasing have a lot of options. So by definition, if you want a relationship from him, you are actually, whether or not you choose to believe it or not, you are in competition with other women. In the same way, guys, when men are out here in the dating market, they are in competition with other men if they are choosing to date. But women like this, especially, guys, they just refuse to acknowledge reality. And this is why they never get chosen by the men that they actually want. They think that they're perfect. They think that the other women aren't any competition. And before you know it, the dude just dates another woman who he actually finds to be feminine and pleasant, who takes care of her health. But don't worry, you weren't competing with her, apparently.
You're just concerned about yourself, your time, and what you're doing. If you're assuming he is dating other people, just let it be. You're not going to compete with those women. You know who you are. If he doesn't see your worth, that is his loss. But you are not going to compete with this man because that's very masculine energy. You're not going to compete with other women because you know who you are. Whether or not he ends up with someone else and not you, that is none of your concern. That person is not for you at the end of the day. So just focus on yourself and don't worry about anybody else that this person may or may not be dating. 3, you're going to text sporadically. Do not be so predictable when it comes to your texting habits.
Oh my God. So we're talking about not competing with other women. Okay, if he doesn't like you, he doesn't like you. It's whatever. The universe is telling me that he's not your man, all right? But now, immediately, the next point that she's making is you're deliberately going to do sporadic texts. Like, come on, man. So if the man's for you, he's for you. And if he sees your worth, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But at the same time, we're going to play mind games over text and do sporadic texting to try and get him to think that we're busy and we have a fulfilling life. Like, holy hell, guys. Women who do this crap, by the way, you know what men do? Like men who have self-respect, when they notice that women are playing these little texting games, they just stop responding to you, man. This is why so many women get ghosted. Because the dudes are like, I'm not playing the games, okay? I'm not 19 years old or whatever. Maybe there's some 19-year-old dudes who are watching this, right? But a lot of guys who are watching this are older than that, and they're like, man, I'm not some 18 or 19-year-old, okay? I don't want to sit here playing texting games with a woman who's trying to convince me that she's busy. It's stupid.
It's going to be very easy if you do have a very fulfilling life. So if you have a lot of things going on, if you have social things, work going on, friends, family, all that good stuff, right? It's going to come a lot more naturally to you when you actually have a little bit of time to give him that, you know, talking back and forth, but then you're gone for the next like few hours. It's very, very intriguing. Guys like feed off of this sort of like dopamine hit when you do when you do reach out to them after it's been a few hours, but then when you make it not so easy for them, it also increases that like chase thing that they really, really crave.
Oh my goodness. Guys, no wonder these women are completely unsuccessful in dating, by the way. Like, again, the men that you're chasing, if you pull this kind of crap, all that it's going to do is lower their interest in you. I mean, feel free to go out there and try it, right? And you let me know when exactly your long-term relationship is, because like it completely fails. It completely falls apart. Men aren't sitting here doing this same crap. I would argue it goes the other way around, but that's not an argument I'm really going to make in this video right now. The thing is, if dudes see that you're playing these texting games, they are going to drastically lose interest in you, especially if they have any level of self-respect. If men continue to deal with this nonsense, typically it's just because they want to have fun with you and then leave and not talk to you anymore.
You're not giving them that predictability about you. It's very, very attractive. Don't answer all of his calls all the time. It just makes them more obsessed with you.
Unpredictable women are repulsive, just by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there. Women who are not caring and consistent and things like this, completely repulsive. You want to play these mind games where you're going to be unavailable with men and do all of this sort of mind game nonsense, you're just going to run men away who respect themselves. So good luck with that.
It is. So have a fulfilling life. The key thing to remember in this whole thing is that you're worrying about yourself, right? When you worry about yourself, they come towards you more. Don't feel like you have to be glued to your phone texting this dude, okay? He's not the most important part of your day. You're the most important part of your day. That's how it should be. 4, you need to be dating multiple men. You need to have a roster. Yes. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you have a roster, you are going to not be so focused on one particular guy, and you're going to let a lot of things slide more if you are dating one person at a time.
Reason number 457 why men don't want to date modern women. They have rosters. So guys, if you don't know what a roster is, basically it just means a bunch of dudes or a bunch of people that someone is seeing at any given point in time. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to commit to a woman who is seeing multiple dudes at the same time. It's disgusting, right? You think that you're the best thing ever. You're a queen. You deserve this type of treatment from men. They should plan dates with you, and you are seeing multiple dudes at the same time. Sorry, not happening. I don't think men should be taking women out on dates who see multiple men at all. It's repulsive, man. Like this is exactly the kind of stuff that keeps women single until they're like 40 and they just find some mega simp to look after them. This is exactly the stuff that does it.
Focused on one particular guy, and you're going to let a lot of things slide more if you are dating one person at a time. If you have a roster, it does give you the opportunity to see what you like, what you don't like. You're not focused on one dude. This guy isn't calling you or texting you. You have this other guy who's being consistent. It just allows you to not focus on one particular person, and it gives you a better dating experience. A lot of guys date a lot of women at the same time. You also have to have this mentality.
Okay, so let me just stop you there, madam. Most dudes don't date multiple women at the same time. Let me tell you why. Because most men can't do this in the first place. This is how you know women's perception of reality is so screwed and that they're only dating a very small percentage of men, because they think that this is what men are doing. They think that the average man has a roster. The average man, he will message a woman on Instagram and she'll just completely ignore the message. But they don't see this. All they see is the men at the top. And when women talk like this, guys, it tells you everything you need to know. But we are going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.